Good afternoon, judges. My name is Max and I'm a grad student in electrical engineering.
My name is Dan and I am a senior undergrad in Finance and Management Information Systems.
My name is Moya. I'm a junior undergrad in electrical engineering.
Shanice, I'm a junior undergrad in mechanical engineering.
And we are a used car team. Imagine it's 6 p.m. and you got out of work and you're in a hurry to get home, but you forgot to buy a toilet paper. And it wouldn't be that easy, but you would ended up in this. This is a huge line for the quick self-checkout system, but as you can see, you're not the only one, and it's a problem. From our research, 77% of shoppers are dissatisfied with checkout lines in the stores. Also, today's systems are inefficient, they're expensive, and confusing for all of us as customers. As a matter of fact, the grocery store are low-margin market with a constantly increasing wages for human resources and technology. That's why we got an opportunity. From our research, we saw that 60% of shoppers are spending more than 5 minutes standing in line. From third-party survey, we saw that more than 70% of people, majority of them, they didn't have enough time and they least satisfied with experience in line in the stores. Also, the stores are spending money for, on average, 70 employees per location to operate the store.
So our solution is UseCart. UseCart will be a fully modular and integrative system that will be able to adapt to any, say, standard shopping cart, and it will create a revolutionary experience for the shopper. The shopper will be able to take the cart and go throughout the store and add items directly into their cart, and then walk out the store without ever having to go to a checkout. The system will automatically bill them based off of the individual grocer's listing. The grocer will be updated on the item list, and the customer can just go on their merry way. Now, the benefits of this for the customer, obvious that they no longer have to, dedicate a specific amount of time to, go to the store at say like 5 during rush hour, and they don't have to think I need one item, but now I'm gonna have to wait 30 minutes. And the store can now benefit that they can ease up on their labor force while improving their margins. With grocery stores in such a competitive landscape, they don't have the ability to really increase their costs, so they really can only increase their profits, so they can really only decrease their costs. Now, this market is in its infancy state, but there are some major competitors. There are companies such as Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Walmart, and they're all taking a different approach to this type of issue. However, most of these companies are focusing on massive innovation that is going to pretty much require a major amount of CapEx and IT expenditure, and that just simply isn't an option for the majority of small and mid-sized chains. So this is where we come into the market. We plan on developing a system that will be backwards compatible and very easy to integrate with any system, regardless of how old it is, whether it's on the cloud or in an old SAP ERP system. And this is where we kind of find ourselves in the marketplace. Now, are we sustainable? So we are assuming that we'll be able to get, once we are founded and once we have our final product up and running, we are aiming for roughly, for the first year, a 1% penetration in the Massachusetts grocer market. And that will allow us to hit roughly 6 stores, and we plan on having each store have roughly 3 systems, and that will allow us to make roughly $10,000 per location a year in profit, while only costing us about $5,000 to get the store up and running with our system. And with hitting 6 stores of that per year, we plan on getting in profit roughly $35,000.
And for the beginning judges, we're looking for investment of $5,000 for our 3 different prototype cards, including the app development and cloud storage that could benefit our customers from the day one. And let us say that help us to help you to see no more lines with our used card. Thank you.
Good job. Questions?
How does this differ from the handheld scanners? And I apologize, I don't remember the name of the store. I went to visit my parents. And
Stop Shop.
it was at Stop and Shop, and you using handheld scanner. How does that differ from that?
Oh, go ahead. I'll take it. So because of the card has scanners all over the place, you wouldn't be able to hold the scanner and walk around with a basket and scanner, and you wouldn't have a third arm to grab another item, right? So that's why we have scanners all over the place of the perimeter of the card, and when you check the item, it would appear in the screen rather than a small screen with a scanner. And also after that, you have to go to the self-checkout card system, and check your scanner.
You
Oh,
have
okay.
to
So
wait in
it's,
line
yeah,
anyway.
we
to
are
check your
decreasing the
scan.
steps that you're making, that's why it's beneficial for you.
Okay, and how do you do any fraud prevention? Like people
I can answer that.
shoplifting?
Okay.
So I have a couple of contacts with grocers, and we've been talking about, there are a couple of ways that we can approach this. Some of them say that depending on what their shrinkage would be after, say, reducing the labor force by 5%, they might not care. It's kind of on our system. There are different systems like that in, say, airports that people don't even need to get checked by TSA. However, we also plan on, if that isn't the case, and obviously that's a hard sell for immediately bringing something in, so we plan on just integrating a scale, just like, say, the self-checkout anyways, that once there is an item that is unexpected in it, it'll send off a small beep, and after a specific period of time, the wheels will lock if that beep is still going and the customer hasn't rectified it.
How would you check out non-barcode related things?
Oh, I can take that. I spoke with the manager of Peterson Market on Cape Cod, and what he said would be like create a portal, because the way they do it is like, for example, his scales in the deli, he just put them out, and whatever they change the price of their produce, he puts the amount in, and the scales are automatically updated. So we create a portal for him to do the same thing, where it's like he puts in the amount and then whatever tag they put on. So he pretty much create non-scan items. He makes them scannable. That's what
There's
I-
also another way
Yeah.
to look into this. So you know how self-checkout lines have like scales on them. So we're planning to hopefully either do that or just do this sensors. So you put the weight and then you can just pick the item, what it is. If it's bananas, potatoes.
Inside your car?
Yes.
Yes, inside your pressure plates?
Yes, it's
Yeah.
pressure plates, yes.
It's a weight system.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys, one of the things is you know, with any type of scale, they have to be generally calibrated and certified by a local authority.
Correct.
You guys have that part of your plans?
So we are still in designing for the prototype
Yeah.
stage, so obviously we will need to speak to the authorities, so no, we haven't gotten in contact with that yet. However, I'm sure that we'll be able to get at least a hearing with someone to figure it out.
Why not, I think it's actually a really cool idea. The thing is, I feel like a handheld app would be a more cost-effective way to go. So if I take my phone, I can basically scan everything, you know, assuming that they have some skills where they can create their own UPC codes like Wegmans does. And I can go through and like, you can accomplish the same thing with, go ahead.
So the thing, if you're using a scanner, as Max said, you don't have that many arms. You're trying to wiggle between your arm, your phone, all that. Also, a lot of
Yeah.
customers use their phone to like text and call or whatever they're doing on their phone. So by implementing everything into the cart, you can just put the stuff in the cart and just walk out.
Can you go back to your pricing though, because your cart seems like your cart is gonna have,
Those or
Uh,
previous
the next
ones?
one.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, so is the cart gonna just have a scanner mounted on it, or is the cart actually like a Internet of Things type of device?
So if we go back to the slide with the card, with a picture of the card.
Yes, I saw there was like a little,
Yeah, so the
Yeah.
blue stuff are gonna be the scanner all over the perimeter.
what if you fill up the cart?
What if you would?
Your groceries exceed the cart.
So that's gonna be replacing in and out. So we're not trying to replace all checkout
Just
lines.
quick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so it's like
ideally,
the
it's
12.
for the express lanes that people are already looking to get in and out, and that those are normally younger users anyways, so thankfully, they'll be more apt to adapt to new technology.
Have you guys seen what some of the other like shopping technologies coming out with putting RFIDs in products? And you put it in a smart bag and they just walk out?
So the issue with that though is that it is extremely expensive, and for our market that we're focusing on, like say the mom and pop shop type of supermarket, or even say up to maximum say market basket size,
Yeah.
they are already at such low margin anyways, they can't justify dumping in so much
Yep.
CapEx and then, you know, essentially wiping out half their workforce in order to afford that. So we're attempting to just kind of fill that gap of the transitioning of outdated supermarkets trying to catch up to, like, say, Whole Foods.
I would look at a company called Anasis. So the RFID tag is what we use, so we have 10,000 pieces of raw material and 3,000 pieces of finished goods and somewhere in between for a work in process, right? So they do something called inventory count, once a quarter or once a month. So someone goes in, literally says we have X amount of screws and Y amount of plastic and so on and so forth, right? So we use this company called Anasis, and someone has a gun, and they just wave the gun, and it gives you a list of everything that the RFID tags touch with the gun, and it provides a report of it. So I think you could use RFID tag. So what you'd want to think through is maybe you can work with the grocery stores where RFID tags aren't that expensive. They're 37 cents per tag, and then you have to put your own code in.
Yeah, but if you're looking into that, you're looking at, let's say, 30 cents per item. Grocery stores have over 45,000 items in their store.
Sure.
So I talked to my advisor, and he's like, let's just don't go there, because it's gonna be pretty expensive, especially if you're going to like smaller grocery stores and
Sure.
like single stores.
Well, you're solving more than one problem, right? So that's what I'm saying. Where
Yeah.
you can get two problems out of one, where you could say, hey, your inventory management system and your checkout system can now be combined into one using the same technology, because they do inventory counts too, right? Put together your
Yeah,
inventory
they do
code.
it every
So
quarter.
I'm sure they do it some way, so if you can build on however they're doing the inventory count, you can save on the labor of the inventory
Then-
counter, you can save on the checkout people. I'm not all for fire.
Yeah.
That sounds terrible.
Automation.
But you can leverage two technologies as once, and then just put in scanners around your cart, where every time something with an RFID tag goes in the cart, it counts it off.
Yeah, they do, and I actually, one of my contacts is, works for Concord Foods as a systems engineer, so he directly works with ERP systems like that, and so I've been talking to him back and forth. He said that when we thought about solutions like that, he said the biggest issue is gonna be the fact that a lot of grocery stores are in different formats for their ERP,
Sure.
so we just don't know so we were still kind of figuring out the best way of hitting
Sure.
as many, birds with one stone.
Where you win is they do counts, right? They count somehow.
Yeah.
So you're just, instead of counting, they were using a dollar value. It's still the same math. Instead of saying one,
Yep.
you're saying $3.99 or $4.99 times a number.
And I believe if all of the grocery stores agreed would change the system and implement our technology, it would benefit for them to compete with others, whether they want it.
You change one and the rest of them will agree because one is
Yes.
faster than the
Yes,
other
it
one.
would
right?
show them
But
that,
you don't
yeah,
have,
it's prob- yes.
that's a problem you
Yeah.
don't need to
Yeah.
worry about. Don't worry about that
It's,
problem.
it's a self-marketing.
Sell to one, you're
Yeah.
okay.
So the shopping cart, I mean, we've all been to parking lots. Shopping carts are abused.
Yes.
How are you gonna ruggedize this thing so that it's an expensive investment?
Mhm.
You know, how are you gonna ruggedize it so that it can last?
So, maybe the mechanical engineer.
Just look at her.
That's awesome.
We have all of
It's
those.
all you.
Yeah.
So what I brought up to the team is the tech. I was thinking about putting all the tech stuff within like a ABS plastic mold that is readily available to us. And I don't know if everyone should know Lego. Like I don't know if you've ever beat a Lego. That thing is
They're
pretty much
indestructible.
they're pretty much indestructible. It'd be like the same material. Super inexpensive. It's in our maker lab, so we have access to that, and it's also shock resistant. And then I was also thinking about for waterproof in case it's been left outside. The wheels will lock, but if in case that it just say it didn't lock, we're thinking about a silicone sealant to make sure all our electronics are waterproof. Both things I've worked with, accessible to me, so it should be super accessible and super inexpensive. So
With the ability to still recharge, because it's gonna need power at some point,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
yeah.
So in the design, we plan on having, there's two avenues we can go with that. Either creating a docking station, but we're afraid of a really small mom and pop store not wanting that intrusion on their store. So we can just have a removable, say lithium batteries that are gonna be powering it, because the actual amount of wattage is not going to be massive. So by having 3 batteries on deck, they should be able to go throughout the whole day without an issue.
And also for the biggest store, we would have a dock station, so we can charge it as a regular one, so just open it and that's it.
One more question, or?
So I guess you wouldn't, yeah, so because you're really focusing, so you're targeting the express line, you know, the 10, 15, maybe top 20 items.
Suppose.
Even those people, so did you do it on the baskets? Because you have these handheld, because people don't use, well, they use carts and they use baskets.
We're thinking of that down the line, but our main focus right now is the cart, because you don't want to hold the basket and just run around the store. It's just easier to dump everything.
So, but then in terms of the number of carts that you would have to outfit, you wouldn't outfit every single cart. Would there be specialized carts for express shoppers?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
There's-
it's not the whole
there's-
fleet, so
yes.
when the kid's out.
Yeah,
yeah.
You're really talking about So then what, there'd be a different color, or there'd be somehow designated as
Yes, it's
Yeah.
a
special shopping
special,
carts?
yes.
Just like now you go and look at a basket, but we'd have an area with.
An area,
Yeah.
yes.
Just
correct.
for the.
So there'd be green ones where the rest are red or something.
Also, as you see, there's disabled carts, so you can see on the side, so we have carts on the side as well. And also the stores, they have a huge parking for all the
Yes.
carts,
Yeah.
so we could take some of them and implement a system on that as well.
And if everything went our way, we could also implement a login for the end shopper, so that way they're not just free grabs, so they actually have to, in order for the wheels to unlock, they have to approach it with their phone logged in. It's kind of like how Zipcart works, and that way the grocer doesn't have to worry about, random people just trying to run off with the cart. Even though wheels will lock, people, if they see tech and they can just readily get it, that could be an issue. So that was another layer that we're thinking about, but we're just wondering of how much intrusion that would be for the shop.
Okay, very good, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you for the-